For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dom Mitchell. I am the current chair of the OASPA Board of Directors. I'm also the chair of the committee of Think Check Submit, which is an initiative that helps researchers choose good books and journals to publish their research in. And I'm also the operations manager for DOAJ. It's been a real pleasure to spend this time with you over the past 3 days, and I hope you've all had as much fun as I have. I am so excited. I am so excited because this morning, during coffee break, I got an email from a band that I've been following since 1987, who is finally releasing their last ever studio album on the 1st of November. And I got so excited that I had to ask myself, is this a reasonable reaction for a 53-year-old man? I don't know. This is part of my record collection at home. And the band in question occupies the top right square and the second square on the left, on the second row. But the one thing that I do know is that such passion isn't only reserved for music and art, but I've also seen it in this room. I've experienced it here at this conference. I've been asked to sum up everything that we've heard over the past 3 days. It's a bit like being given 1,000 ingredients and asked to make a cake that doesn't have a soggy bottom, if you know, you know, and that isn't too dry and that holds together while it's being served. If Claire and Bernie had ever seen me bake, then they probably wouldn't have asked me to come up here because my cakes often look like that. If you've been to an OASPA conference before, then you'll have heard discussions on predatory journals. Not so much on that this time round. On OA models or disruptive initiatives such as Plan S. There have been heated but constructive discussions in rooms like this about how open becomes the default. And after about 20 years, I do feel that we've come a long way. Having listened to all our fantastic speakers, it strikes me that we've moved beyond those discussions and that we're ready to tackle thorny issues of how we make the last 20 years count, how we have real impact in an equitable way. We're at the stage where we can take a hard, critical look at what we've done, question it, and build on it. We've heard about the life-saving importance of equity and open access, and that simply removing paywalls doesn't achieve that equity. We've heard that we must strive for true equity through involving all communities in the creation and dissemination of knowledge. We've been reminded that there are numerous communities on the ground who are best placed to do or who are already doing life-saving, climate-saving research, and that we need to deconstruct our current processes if we want to create an ecosystem where the research done by those communities is legitimized. And the one thing that struck me as I've listened to these presentations and had conversations in the breaks and at the receptions is how impact has such a human element to it, that we are human and that the decisions that we take and the actions that we make impact us, our fellow humans, the communities around us, and entire global regions. At this conference, I've heard of a student who was able to publish his first paper at the age of 15 because he was working in an entirely open community. I've spoken to an editor-in-chief who worked hard to open up his journal archive of published papers from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, giving those papers a new lease of life and the authors a new audience and possibly a newfound reputation. I've spoken to an academic who is stretched, pulled between doing their job, their research that's needed to advance their career, while at the same time facing huge budget cuts, the carpet pulled out from under their feet. And surely the most powerful evidence of impact was what we heard yesterday of a mother's monumental victory getting the care that her child needed and how access to content was instrumental in that victory. Real life events experienced by real people with real impact. And if that's a list of experiences that's happened to others, then let's think about Rebecca's plea this morning for us to open up access to climate change research so it can achieve its full and much needed impact. Climate change that affects every single one of us in this room. Over the past 3 days, we've heard the same words repeatedly. Publishers, librarians, academics, funders, researchers, they're labels. But we are so much more than a label. We are skilled individuals with the wisdom of experience who have compassion. And with that wisdom and compassion, we have a unique opportunity to come together in this OASPA community. This OASPA community where we are welcomed, valued, and can speak our minds in a safe space. And that's the importance of OASPA. It's a unique place where we dare to have hope. It's where we hear uncomfortable truths, but have collective power to meet those truths head on. It's where we uncover and give voice to problems and gather together to find solutions. And we do that with empathy, compassion, logic, and sound judgment. In my opinion, nothing will ever beat the machine of humanity, our human brain, and its ability to give us those skills. We've heard at this conference about AI. And AI, you are great and clever and fascinating and slightly scary, but you'll never be greater than the collective power of us. I'm raising a metaphorical middle finger to AI. So as we leave here, I'd like us to remember that this conference has been and will continue to be the fertile ground of real progress for the advancement of open access, and that progress is down to us as individuals coming together, sharing ideas, and having exciting conversations. And I'm really looking forward to the next opportunity where we can continue these conversations. Thank you to all of you for making these last 3 days so fascinating and so exciting. And if there is one thing that you do when you leave here, I've asked Rebecca's permission to display her email address for everyone to see. Please get in touch with Rebecca for her list, and please speak to her or the people in your organization about making pathways to opening up papers on climate change, because our future depends on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dom. Right. I think it's an indication of the inside of my brain that I've got 2 sets of notes. One of them looks like this with like scribbles all over the place. So apologies. Thank you, all of you. So I get to have the last word. I hope you've all learned something new while you've been here. I hope you've all heard a perspective, at least one, but more than one, that you haven't heard before. Sorry. I hope you have something to take away with you that sparks an action. I know that you will, because we're a community of doers. And that's what stops this conference being just a moment in time. We started with some questions. We've had answers. We've had solutions. Even in just these 3 days, we've come a long way. To echo my opening remarks, we've come far together. I'm just going to have a little look at who we are. That's not the slide I was expecting. That's the one. So there's 163 of you from 132 organisations. Just over half of you said when you registered that you have a publishing programme. I don't know if you can see all of the country names, but this is the distribution of delegates. This looks very different to when we hold the conference online. Very different. Normally, actually, the USA is the largest representative, but there are usually a lot more countries represented here, and I'm going to come back to that. But that is something that's really significant about our decision to hold this in person, and for us to walk the talk and the things that I believe are important for OASPA to do. This is something that really needs moving forward. To do some thank yous before I come back to this, I want to thank the hotel team, Claudia and her team, I would like to thank Ruby. Actually, it seems too small to thank Ruby at this part in the list, but Ruby has been incredible leading up to the conference. She has not stopped while we've been here, and I can't see her, so I'm assuming she's actually somewhere doing something at the moment. So if I see her come back in, I will do another thank you to Ruby so we can all give her an applause. But we should do that anyway. I don't, no idea where she is. Thank you to the tech team, to Andre and Pedro. They've been fantastic. But for example, having speakers on screen, we did not plan any of that. That's all been completely last minute. They've done a phenomenal job. Last minute slides, allowing speakers to see the room. I think I have a picture of what. No, that's not it either. That's the committee. Okay, these slides are not in the order I was expecting. But yeah, they've done a phenomenal job in enabling us to pull everything together at the last minute. Thank you. You see, they're just awesome. Now I need the committee. If I could, is that back? I should not be in charge of this. Thank you so much to the conference committee. They've done a fantastic job. It's been a wonderful 3 days, not only putting the programme together in advance and all the work that takes, but here manning everything, chairing. They've been absolutely phenomenal. Now I have literally no idea what's coming next. Not that one. We've seen that. Our sponsors. So I'm going to read all of these out individually. We had sponsorship from the Wellcome Trust, the Royal Society of Chemistry, MDPI, CARGA, Bloomsbury Academic, Public Knowledge Project, Silverchair, Delta Think, and PLOS. They all deserve to be name-checked. We couldn't do this without our sponsors. We're incredibly grateful. It literally enables us to do things like this and get you all together. So thank you so much to all of the sponsors for their support. Thank you also to Andrea from Research Consulting. I don't know where he is, but all the Mentimeters have been down to him, which has been amazing. And now I will come back to Welcome. I'm going to click this, just see what happens. No. So the Wellcome Trust, the support that we got from them is a 5-year sponsorship specifically to enable participation from low and middle income countries. Now, not only do the sponsors enable us to put the event on, but for us to even begin to be as inclusive as we like to be, we need funds to be able to get people here. So again, it's so different to being online. So that has gone some way. But if anybody has any ideas about how we can do better or wants to come and talk to me about that or other ways that we can get support to help people, we can't really have the global conversation we want to have if we can't have people in the room. So it's gone as far as we could manage for this year, but and we're incredibly grateful. But yeah, any support in the future, come and talk to me. And we've learned a lot of lessons in putting this conference on and supporting speakers in how much that has changed in 5 years. It's not as easy as we've expected in some cases. We have a lot to learn in how to make that process work better in the future. So again, any feedback, we want to hear it. Other ways that you can support OASPA. So this, again, is our supporter list. You don't have to be doing open access publishing. You don't have to be directly providing services to open access. We're very grateful to our supporters as well, who enable us to do what we do. There will be a survey which you'll receive. So please look out for that. And again, give us any feedback that can help us make the conference work better. I've done a lot of these conferences now. Every year it's different. Every year there's different problems, and we can work on addressing those if we know what they are. So please don't be shy and do let us know that, we're not going to get it perfect anytime we put the conference on. So Two last thank yous. One, I can't really take the credit for the organisation of the conference this year. I have done very little because I now have an amazing team. Bernie has obviously done the management of the event, but the whole team has been working really hard the past few days. There's lots of different moving parts in advance as well that they've all been working on. So thank you to Bernie, but also to Malavika, Lulu, David, Melvin and Carol for all of your support over putting the whole event together. And thank you, finally, to all of you. Let's click. What is there? Blackness. Thank you again, following up on what John Walensky said, thank you for staying to the end. There hasn't been enough time, although I have heard feedback that yesterday was too long and really there should have been enough time, but I haven't spoken to enough of you. I wouldn't like this to be the end of the conference and the conversations that we've started. So please do get in touch with OASPA. Keep in touch, have a safe journey home, and see you next year. Thank you, everybody.